One book, one extraordinary life. 48 chapters of saints, science, and the search for God.
I'm Kai,
And I'm Maya.
and this is our take on Autobiography of a Yogi, chapter by chapter. 15 years. 15 years since Yogananda stepped off a boat in Boston Harbor in 1920, uncertain what America would bring. 15 years of building a mission from nothing, establishing meditation centers, writing articles, teaching at universities, spreading Kriya Yoga to a culture that had literally no spiritual framework for understanding what he was offering. He's lectured at the Carnegie Hall, he's written in magazines, he's given everything to carry the teaching across an ocean into a completely different world.
And now, in 1935, something shifts inside him. He knows it's time. He boards a ship heading east. He's going home, back to India, back to the ashram in Puri, back to Sri Yukteswar, the guru who sent him, the man who looked at him 15 years ago and said, "Your work is in the West, now go." And 15 years is a long time. It's enough time to become someone else entirely, to wonder if you made the right choice, to carry doubt and homesickness and a kind of invisible wound.
Chapter 40, I Return to India. This is the chapter where everything Yogananda has been doing, everything he's sacrificed, everything he's built finally makes sense. Because before you can understand your work, before you can trust your path, you have to return to the source. You have to sit again at the feet of the master and receive something beyond instruction. You need confirmation. You need to know that the guru still sees you, that the guru is still with you.
So he arrives in Bombay, and he's scheduled to give public lectures. He's supposed to visit different cities. He has an itinerary, plans. But before he even gets to Bengal, before he even sees his guru face to face, something extraordinary happens that changes everything. He's staying at the Regent Hotel on a high floor, looking out over the street, over the city, and he begins to meditate, and the room is flooded with light, not the light of noon, a shimmering, blazing, luminous light that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere.
And there, appearing before him in that radiance, is Lord Krishna himself, the divine teacher from the Bhagavad Gita, the avatar who played the flute in Vrindavan and drew all the gopis to him through love and music. And Krishna is there, shimmering, with that characteristic smile of infinite tenderness. And Yogananda's first instinct is to kneel, but he doesn't. For the first time in his spiritual life, he doesn't wait at the guru's feet in supplication. He advances hungrily and embraces him.
And Krishna speaks to him tenderly. He says, "I did not want to interfere with your happy anticipation of seeing the pilgrimage spot where first I met Babaji. I left you only for a little while. Am I not with you again?" So Krishna is acknowledging Yogananda's joy. He's saying, "I know you're eager to see your guru. I'm stepping back. I'm giving you space. Let you have that reunion. That joy belongs to you. That reunion is sacred."
And then Krishna explains something that addresses one of the deepest mysteries. He says, "But is it you, Master, the same Lion of God? Are you wearing a body like the one I buried beneath the cruel Puri sands?" And Krishna's answer is about resurrection, about the fact that the guru, the master, never truly dies. The form dies, the body is buried, but consciousness itself is eternal. The teaching is eternal. The transmission never ceases. The master simply changes vehicles.
So Yogananda receives this vision, and immediately his Western schedule dissolves. The public addresses in Bombay get postponed. Everything except this reunion becomes secondary. He's urgent now, almost desperate. He needs to reach Puri. He needs to reach the ashram. He needs to see Sri Yukteswar. Because for 15 years, he's carried some layer of doubt, some hidden wound. Did I make the right choice leaving my guru? Was I meant to go to America? How could he have let me suffer alone? And now he's about to get his answer directly from his master.
So he travels to Puri, and when he arrives at the ashram, when he finally stands in that familiar place again, seeing the gardens, the meditation rooms where he sat as a young monk, the familiar walls where he learned the deepest mysteries, everything floods back. The years dissolve, but he's not the same person. He's lived a whole other life. He's been tested by America. He's been challenged by skepticism and materialism. He's built something substantial. He's matured. He's seasoned. And then he sees Sri Yukteswar walking toward him.
And Yogananda says something remarkable, something that marks the transformation. He says, "For the first time in my life, I did not kneel at his feet in greeting, but instantly advanced to gather him hungrily in my arms. Moment of moments, The anguish of past months was toll I counted weightless against the torrential bliss now descending. There's been a fundamental shift, you know? The student has become mature enough to embrace his teacher as a full being, not just the repository of truth or the dispenser of answers he needs to extract.
And Sri Yukteswar's face breaks into that angel-bewitching smile, and he says simply, "My son." Just those words. And then Yogananda, in this excess of joy, this overwhelming bliss, he asks the question that's been underlying everything for 15 years. He says, "Master mine, beloved of my heart, why did you leave me? Why did you let me go to the Kumbh Mela? How bitterly I have blamed myself for leaving you. All the guilt, all the wondering if he made a terrible mistake, all the homesickness and the doubt and the longing, it pours out in that moment." And Yogananda is thinking, "I carried your teachings across an ocean. I built your mission in a foreign land. I have been alone. I have doubted myself. I have asked if I was meant to be here. And now I am home."
And Sri Yukteswar's answer is the whole teaching of the book, compressed into a single moment of grace. The master says, "My child, I am with you always." Not just in memory, not just as a thought you carry, but actually, continuously, omnipresently. The guru doesn't abandon the disciple when the disciple leaves. The relationship survives separation. It transcends space, it transcends distance, it transcends time. All those nights Yogananda sat alone in America, wondering if he'd made the right choice, wondering if his guru had forgotten him, wondering if the separation meant the transmission had been cut. No, all along the guru was there, present, watching, guiding. And Yogananda is weeping, trembling with this recognition of what he's always known, but never fully understood until this moment when his master looks into his eyes and says it with absolute certainty and love.
So then, hold on, because this is where everything shifts again. Sri Yukteswar says he has something to give him, a new name. The master cakes Yogananda's hands and he bestows upon him the title Paramhansa. Param meaning supreme, ultimate, the highest. Hansa meaning swan. The mystical swan of Hindu scripture that can drink only the milk from a bowl of milk and water, leaving the water behind entirely. The being who can distinguish the eternal from the temporal, the permanent from the fleeting, the real from the illusory.
It's a recognition that Yogananda has completed his sadhana. He's achieved that perfect discrimination. He's drunk only the milk. He's left the water behind. He's ready to teach from that place of absolute knowing, right? And then Sri Yukteswar gathers all the disciples and monks of the ashram together, and publicly, in front of everyone, he makes a declaration. He says Yogananda's work in America is not separate from our work here. It is all one mission, one spiritual army fighting on different fronts against the same enemy, ignorance, the darkness that makes people forget who they truly are.
So Yogananda goes to Ranchi, the school he founded before he left for America, the Brahmacharya Vidyalaya, education according to the Brahmachari stage of life. And it's been growing while he's been away. It's flourishing. The acres of land are productive, the buildings are full of eager young students, and he sees the same grounds, the same meditation rooms, the same gardens where he taught Yogoda to the boys, where his father came and was finally reconciled to his choice. But everything has changed, and nothing has changed. The physical forms are the same. The consciousness that animates them has matured. The vision he carried in his heart when he sailed to America has become real. The school is thriving. His work was real. His choice was right.
And he reunites with his father, the man who once asked him why he wasn't taking a practical job, why he wasn't securing his future through conventional means. The father who couldn't understand the spiritual path, who probably feared his son was wasting his life on mystical dreams. And when the father sees what Yogananda has built, when he sees the happy, eager youngsters running around the school, when he sees the tangible fruit of spiritual work made manifest in the world, something breaks open in him.
And his father says something beautiful. He says, "Son, I am now reconciled to your choice in life. It gives me joy to see you amongst these happy, eager youngsters. You belong here rather than with the lifeless figures of railroad timetables." And then he looks at a group of little children clustered around Yogananda like bees around honey, and with twinkling eyes he says, "I had only 8 children, but I can feel for you." It's complete reconciliation. The family wound that started before Yogananda even entered the spiritual path has finally healed.
And Yogananda meets his childhood companions, people he hasn't seen in 15 years. And there's something bittersweet about it, you know? You can't go back. You can only move forward, even when you're physically returning to where you've been. He's different now. They're different. India itself is different. The independence movement is gathering momentum. The British are still there, but everything is in transition. Nothing is static. Everything has aged and changed like he has.
But then something even more profound happens. Yogananda travels and gets to meet Mahatma Gandhi. He visits Gandhi's ashram, and he watches Gandhi doing his spinning wheel work. the charka. And it's not just a political symbol, For Gandhi, a spinning wheel is a meditation. It's a tool for maintaining presence and mindfulness. It's a way of embodying his spiritual philosophy of nonviolence and simple living and self-reliance. It's the whole spiritual path compressed into the act of spinning thread. And Yogananda, who has been teaching meditation and Kriya Yoga, who has been showing people how to reach God through breath and consciousness and the nervous system, he recognizes in Gandhi something he understands deeply, this fusion of teaching and action, this refusal to separate the spiritual from the practical. Gandhi is saying through the charka what Yogananda is saying through Kriya Yoga, that God is not distant, that enlightenment is not something you achieve by running away from life into caves, that the spiritual path includes the world.
Yeah. And here's the thing. It's not that Yogananda agrees with everything Gandhi does, but he recognizes the principle underneath it, that there are many legitimate paths to serve God. Gandhi's path through political action and nonviolence and democratic participation, Yogananda's path through meditation and energy control and the science of breath. Even Babaji, working in the astral worlds, continuing the transmission from subtle planes. All of them reaching for the same truth from different directions. All of them serving the same divine will. Wait, seriously, that's huge.
And then comes the deepest revelation. During those hours in the Bombay hotel, Sri Yukteswar tells Yogananda something that answers one of the fundamental questions. He says, "As prophets are sent on earth to help men work out their physical karma, so I have been directed by God to serve on an astral plane as a savior." He's saying, I'm not done teaching. I'm not done guiding you. I've been resurrected in a subtle body to continue the work on higher planes of existence.
Because Yogananda had seen Sri Yukteswar's body buried at Puri. He'd witnessed the funeral rites himself. He'd stood there and grieved. He'd carried the weight of that loss. And part of him wondered if that was the end, if death meant the end of the guru-disciple relationship, if the promise the guru had made to him on earth would somehow expire when the physical form expired. And Sri Yukteswar is saying, no. Wait, the body dies, but consciousness doesn't. The guru exists beyond the form. The transmission continues. When the disciple needs the guru appears. Always.
So there's this moment that comes at the very end of the chapter. An old woman, a devoted disciple of Sri Yukteswar, arrives at the Puri ashram looking for her guru. And Sebananda, the Swami in charge, has to tell her, Master died a week ago. And she doesn't believe him. She refuses it. She says, that's impossible. I am here. Blessings pour on this old gray head. The deathless guru wanted me to understand something profound. He visited me this morning, in what transcendent body I cannot say, and showed me what work he's doing now, on planes beyond the physical.
And Sebananda kneels before her in recognition. She's right. The Master has risen. The resurrection is real. The Guru can work through many forms at once. The Guru can appear to many disciples simultaneously. The Guru exists on multiple planes and can serve on all of them at once. The transmission is not interrupted by the death of the physical form. It's continuous. It's eternal.
So that's the complete teaching of this chapter, The guru-disciple relationship is not bound by the physical form. When the disciple is truly ready, the guru appears in whatever form is necessary. The guru can work through many bodies at once. The guru is not limited by space or time. The transmission is real. It's continuous. It's eternal. Death cannot interrupt it because it's not fundamentally a relationship between two physical bodies. It's consciousness recognizing itself in consciousness. Here's the thing, and this is so important. The guru never leaves, ever.
And Yogananda understands that everything he suffered in those 15 years of separation was necessary. Every moment of loneliness in America, every doubt, every struggle to establish the mission in a culture that didn't understand it, every failure and every triumph, all of it was karma. Education, precisely calibrated lessons designed for his spiritual evolution. The guru sends the student out into the world not to abandon him, but to complete his training, to test him, to refine him, to make sure the teaching is strong enough to survive transplantation into foreign soil.
The guru's love is total. It doesn't depend on proximity. It doesn't depend on the physical senses or constant communication. It's a love that manifests through every circumstance, through every difficulty, through every period of separation. The guru is always working for the disciple's highest good. Always. Even when the disciple feels alone. Even when the disciple doubts.
So when Yogananda returns to America, he goes back transformed. He carries the title Paramhansa. He carries the assurance that his work is the guru's work, that there is no separation between what he's doing on the physical plane and what Sri Yukteswar is orchestrating from the astral realms. He's been confirmed, blessed, authorized to teach and to continue the transmission.
And the next chapter, chapter 41, will take us through Yogananda's travels in southern India. More reunions, more meetings with spiritual masters and householder saints, more of that spiraling deeper, each turn bringing him closer to understanding the totality of what his guru has been preparing him for. The story moves towards its conclusion. The mission is clarified. The teaching deepens.
So next time, we follow Yogananda through the temples and ashrams of southern India. We meet the spiritual teachers and the sacred householders who are still living out the ancient Dharma in the modern world. And we watch as Yogananda's understanding of his own mission becomes even more luminous, even more complete. The story continues to unfold.
The guru-disciple reunion, the transmission that survives death. The fact that serving the world and serving God are not two different things. That's the honey at the center of this chapter. That's what we'll be exploring.
See you next time.